Today, I want to talk about one of the leading sources of men's health angst, which is prostate imbalances, prostate inflammation, BPH, elevations in prostate testing like PSAs, and even potentially biopsies that might have yielded a positive cancer diagnosis. So overall, I want to share with you some ways to address prostate health. And specifically, I want to share with you, I actually have a guide that I have written for gentlemen. That is something you can grab, click on a link down below, which is my Prostate Fix guide. I also have a masterclass in June that's available for all gentlemen to take to learn. It's a deep dive, a 60-minute deep dive into understanding how to address prostate imbalances. So let's dig into some things that we need to address. With any type of elevation in PSA marker, or a challenge with urine flow, or notice the frequency is there, or any type of irritation at the very end of urination, we're dealing with an inflamed prostate gland. Now, what does that mean? An inflamed prostate gland essentially is a combination of an accumulation of fluid. So we actually have kind of a swelling, if you will, in the gland and around the gland. And in the middle of the gland is the urethra, the ureter. So it's like a donut. And in the middle is the process where we're able to urinate. And when that gland gets swollen, it swells on the outside and it swells on the inside. So that's where we can get challenges with urine flow and imbalances throughout the day. Now, the other thing that we're dealing with in the prostate gland is that the prostate is highly receptive to excess estrogen. And I talk more about this in my guide, and I'm digging further into it in my masterclass. But estrogen for men can be the leading source of inflammation. So if we want to deal with estrogen accumulation in the male body, we need to do a few things. We need to lower overall inflammation in the body. And we do this through two ways. One, I love to supplement with Magi-Complexx for gentlemen. This is a very inflammation reducing supplement. It's a trio of herbals that are known to reduce inflammation in the body. They also help create the lymphatic process and the lymph flow that will clear a lot of inflammation in and around the prostate gland. So turmeric, frankincense, and myrrh, these are very grounding. They're very good for that lower pelvic region. This can help reduce some of the inflammation of that gland. So for gentlemen that may experience with what I see in a lot of my patients is a greater urination process at night. So generally gentlemen will kind of get to bed and then they go through 2 or 3 wake ups where they have to urinate, but they're not urinating fully. So they're not emptying their bladder fully. Part of that is inflammatory. It's also related to a particular stress hormone. That is something we're going to address too. But the Magi-Complexx is something you could take at night. And so you could take it around dinner time. That'll start to lower the inflammation levels and start to minimize that nighttime waking. Now, the second thing that we need to do is we need to address the liver. The liver is a key detox organ, and the liver is also important for estrogen metabolism. So supporting the liver by drinking dandelion tea or adding milk thistle liquid herbal drops to that dandelion tea mix is a very powerful way at detoxing the liver and supporting the estrogen metabolism, meaning the breakup of estrogens that's going to eliminate through the bowel contents and move out through the colon and rectum. That's really important. And so targeting the liver is a really important part of this whole inflammatory reduction process when it comes to prostate health. The third thing that we want to do is address stress management. And let's talk about stress. It's not so much like, oh, I'm thinking I'm stressed, or, for a lot of my gentlemen, they're retired. So they're like, I don't have the work stress, but I have this physiological stressor. We have an assortment of stressors. We can have chemical stressors. We can have environmental, like allergens, internal to the body, like food allergens, or external. We could be dealing with mycotoxins, mold exposure. We could be dealing with an overwhelm of heavy metal exposure from work environment, or maybe lifestyle, like smokers or folks that were consuming tobacco. We can also deal with the stressor hormone, which is called cortisol. Cortisol is a very inflammatory related hormone that can cause a whole bunch of stress inside the body. And it ultimately leads to some of the inflammatory challenges the prostate gland experiences. So stress management techniques like meditation and yoga are some of the most powerful free stress reducing tools that you can use on a daily basis. And for gentlemen, sometimes also reducing stress might be exercising in a different way. So doing more of a cardiovascular based exercise in a 30-minute window. So instead of working out for an hour or doing like hardcore weights, the most impactful exercise would be 30 minutes. Maybe it's getting on a rowing machine and doing rowing or swimming. Those are very powerful full body exercises that support cardiovascular health, but minimize the cortisol production. So a lot of men who are working out and kind of really doing a lot of weightlifting and high impact, the HIIT exercises or CrossFit, sometimes they're triggering cortisol in a way that is negative to the prostate gland. Now, another thing that I like to address is adding a very powerful mineral that is often going to be in a deficient state in our body. And particularly in the male body, this mineral deficiency can lead to inflammatory conditions, not just in the prostate, but joints. You might notice gout or swelling in the feet and ankles. And you might also notice kind of holding fluid here in the midsection. Magnesium is a really critical mineral for lowering the inflammatory levels in our body. And we have magnesium 7. I love to recommend adding this powder. So you can break open the capsules. You can add this into a smoothie. You can add it into your tea or morning coffee. It's really great to add in twice a day, in the morning and in the evening. That can be a powerful way to support your prostate gland. So these are some tips if you're interested in going even deeper into healing the prostate gland, addressing inflammation and these inflammatory markers like an elevation in PSA levels, or maybe you've been diagnosed with prostate cancer that's being monitored, or are dealing with maybe a catheter on a daily basis. I'm going to invite you into taking my Prostate Fix Masterclass. We'll walk away after 60 minutes of this impactful class. You'll walk away with some immediate resources, tactics, tips, and even a companion guide to impact your prostate gland in a positive way.